Hello there and welcome back to the channel. Today I just want to talk to you about a new issue that has come to light with the DJI FPV Goggles version 2 when using it in FPV air unit mode. And that new issue is that the goggles seem to be randomly either freezing or rebooting for certain users. Now, just to be clear, this issue only seems to have come to light since we've had that new firmware release last month, which was version 01.02, and that was the big firmware update for the version 2 goggles that had some changes for the FPV drone, but it also fixed that issue that I highlighted on the channel about the version 2 goggles resetting back into drone mode and not being able to switch back. Now, since that firmware is released, there's been a slow but steady build of reports of people having problems, and those problems are that the goggles are either resetting or black screening. It only seems to be happening in FPV air unit mode, and the issue goes away if you downgrade back to the previous firmware. Now, this hasn't been widespread in the sense of I haven't seen hundreds of posts about it, but it is one that I've been tracking for a few weeks. There's been posts on RC groups, a couple of posts on Facebook and others, and it's got to the stage now where there's enough commonality between it to say that this does look like a potential real issue, and it is one that does seem to be happening to certain people. Now, for me, I haven't seen this. However, I have to say, I haven't flown my V2s dramatically in FPV air unit mode because I still have my V1s and I've been predominantly flying them in that. I haven't been able to replicate it on the bench and I haven't been able to get out because it's been raining for 2 days. But there has been enough reports from users that does make me think, as well as a few others, that there is something in this. A couple of really good people have been messaging me in the background as well about this, and I've had a few comments on some of my other videos over the last few days too, and it's just built to the point of this does seem to be something that is real. Now, how to get around this? Well, what you can do is you can download your version 2s back to the last firmware version, that is version 01.00.0606. Now, to do that, you can only do it with Assistant 2 for FPV, and you need to make sure your version 2 goggles are in FPV air unit mode. If you put your V2s in FPV drone mode and connect it to Assistant 2, it will only give you the option for the current firmware, which is 01.02. However, if you connect your version 2 goggles in FPV mode, it will give you the option to downgrade from version 0102 to 01.00.0606. That will then downgrade the whole goggles back to that 0606 firmware, and all of the reports are that it resolves the issue with the goggles rebooting in flight. Now, as for why is this happening? Well, no one really knows at this stage. It seems to be early days in this issue, but it is always worth taking into account that whilst this last firmware update was an update for the FPV drone side of things, and the version of firmware for the goggles 0606 remained the same on the air unit side, it doesn't mean that there isn't commonality between the files of the firmwares, and something that DJI may have changed on the drone side could still have an effect on the air unit side. Whilst the air unit side of the goggles firmware is still 0606 on the latest version, something is obviously triggering this, and like any system, the chances are between these two different firmwares that is on the goggle, there will be shared library files or common files that will be shared between the two systems. Now, that is pretty much all the information I've got on it today. I'm not aware of anything else that resolves the issue. It doesn't seem that resetting the goggles or anything like that solves it. As I said, it only seems to hit the guys with FPV air unit firmware side and not the FPV drone. It is also worth me mentioning as well, if you do downgrade, you will be putting the whole goggles back to 0606, and that does mean you won't have that fix for the version 2s that stopped it rebooting into the wrong mode. However, in my opinion, that isn't a major problem today because you do have that new version of firmware there that you could upgrade to if you did get locked out. Before, when I made that original firmware, we didn't have that option, whereas today we do. So whilst downgrading isn't the perfect solution, if you're someone that is predominantly flying in FPV mode, I think that's probably the best solution if you are seeing this right now, and that way you're not going to get the potential issue with reboots in flight. That's it for this video. I hope you found it useful. I just want to thank everyone who has messaged me on this, whether it be on RC groups, whether it be on my own videos, as well as the couple of great guys who have messaged me in the background. If you find this video interesting, please do consider hitting the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the little bell next to it as well. Do give me your feedback on this issue too. If you're getting it, put it in the comments. How many people are seeing it? How often is it happening? Remember, it's either a total reboot of the goggles or it's just a lockout and black screen. Those are the two common reports that we're seeing. Are they two separate issues? I don't know, but they are the same overall reports. If you do, though, let me know in the comments, and hopefully we can build up a picture of how widespread this actually is. Finally, if you have found this video useful and you'd like to support the channel, there are links to buy me a coffee in the description, as well as Patreon too. And if you do want to support us to be able to keep making content in the future, please do check them out.